for Crystal to start. Meeting for City Commission is called to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Here.
Dr. Estrop?
Here.
Mrs. Houston? Here. Mrs. Tackett?
Here.
Mr. Riff?
Here. Right.
Yes, Commissioners, we have one work session tonight, and with us is our Police Chief, Allison Elliott, and our Sheriff, Chris Clark, and they're going to do a presentation about law enforcement collaboration between their agencies and others to address gun violence in our community.
Well, good evening, Mayor Rue and Commission. Thank you for having us here this evening. Really grateful. I guess I want to first say extremely grateful for Sheriff Clark and his team. And, since he's kind of taken over in January, he has been fully committed to working closely with us and providing us the resources necessary for all of us to work collaboratively together as agencies that are serving both Springfield and our Clark County communities. So really grateful to be here this evening.
I'd like to echo that as well. Since taking office in January, the relationship between Clark County and Springfield PD has been ever increasingly pleasant. We've gone on several ventures together to try to take on some topics head on here in the city, and I want to thank Chief Elliott for having an open door to whatever topic come up.
So this evening, the opportunity for us to speak about our collaboration and our abilities to work together to address gun violence has been, something I know the city manager has asked us to speak about and kind of discuss. I think the big point for us is to understand, a unified front for us to work together collaboratively allows us to be much safer in our operations. And we will talk about some of those initiatives and efforts that we've had over the last couple of years. So some of the things that we have recognized in our community and just nationwide efforts, the increase that we do see as far as our youth and underage individuals carrying guns has certainly increased over the years. I think we've definitely seen the access to firearms being so much easier when we talk with our detectives and officers on the streets, when they are encountering these individuals. The ability to access a firearm is certainly much easier, and it's noticeable and concerning. And some of the other things we've seen are, and we talk a lot about, are the inability or maybe lacking different skill sets to be able to de-escalate situations and learning how to work through disputes. And we know that has a grave impact on not just our families that are affected, but our entire community and the youth within our community. So in talking about our efforts, why is it so important? With Sheriff Clark and his team, they've been so willing to work closely with us, and it allows us to provide one another with intelligence and share information, but better planning of operations, additional resources, bolstering, our presence, making sure that we have additional presence within these operations.
And I'd like to touch base and point out that with the Clark County Fair recently in our rearview mirror, this was put into practice during the course of the fair. As you know, the last few fairs that we've had, we've seen an increase of violence at the Clark County Fair. Including last year, the last day we had an episode where we had a very large fight that did involve a firearm. So that was a concern. So this year, we took some measures and we got some intelligence on what people we should be looking for. Had some intel, some people on the ground out fairgrounds to help us try to identify the bad actors and to try to make sure that we kept the firearms out of these hands of these children and away from the Clark County Sheriff's Office. And that was done through the collaboration between the Clark County Sheriff's Office and Springfield PD through intelligence sharing. So what she's talking about was put into practice and made for a very successful and very safe Clark County Fair.
So additionally, I think it's important that folks understand, our community understands that when we have, especially we have enforcement initiatives, our public safety network is very large, and we make sure that we're collaborating with many different realms within our community. And up here on the slide, you can see a lot of the folks that we do coordinate with and work with to ensure that our efforts are holistic and we have a holistic approach. Not just enforcement and addressing the issues, but what are we doing after to follow up and follow through. And also what the sheriff had shared with intelligence-driven, data-driven information, something that we've been extremely grateful for is our crime analyst program that we have had the opportunity to build from the ground up. We have 2 analysts currently in our program who do incredible work every day, and they have worked closely with us to take a look at, the technology, because in law enforcement and just in general in society, technology is ever evolving and increasing, is becoming more and more of an increased tool that we use to be safer and more data driven. And like the sheriff said, for us to be able to work up some of this information and identify some of these patterns and social media, monitoring social media for threats and concerns and working with our detectives closely, we've been able to work to share that information back and forth as an agency.
And the use of technology through these analysts is giving us a heads up on things that are coming. When we work together to research this stuff, the criminals have evolved to a data-driven lifestyle, and I'm sorry to say that law enforcement as a whole across the United States is a little bit behind. We're catching up, but we're still doing some things today that occurred in the 90s when I started this job. So we're still doing things the same way, where the criminals are out there using data and technology and their cell phones. Everybody carries at least one computer around on their person at all times. They're using these sort of things, so we're a little bit behind the 8 ball. But the invaluableness of Springfield PD having these analysts there who can take this raw data and can do the research that do the research for us, can kind of give us a heads up of what we're looking at. So we're coming into a data age, and we're catching up with them, and Springfield having those analysts is a valuable piece.
So again, just to drive home the point of these joint operations, we've held several joint initiatives where we've had multiple agencies, multiple jurisdictions assisting us. Again, creating that unified approach, and especially when we're talking about as it relates to our youth, we know we have to be very mindful of that when you're encountering a juvenile that's carrying a firearm. And so we definitely have worked closely together with all of our partners, many of those who you've seen on those previous slides. But again, data-driven enforcement, understanding those needs. And kind of speaking on that, I can share, we had one initiative effort just recently here back on July 8th. And just to give you an idea, we had Springfield Police Division, the Clark County Sheriff's Office, the Ohio State Highway Patrol, the Dayton DEA Residence Office, Falk Task Force, Adult Parole, London Police Department K-9, and Bellefontaine Police Department K-9. We all worked together in this operation, and just a result that you can also review on our city's webpage. I know the city put a post up about the results from those efforts. Over the course of one night, we did 35 traffic stops, 22 citations were written, 1 OVI arrest, 5 felony arrests, 1 felony drug arrest, 3 misdemeanor arrests, 1 misdemeanor drug arrest, and 3 firearms were seized, one of which was from a juvenile, and 11 prescription pills and approximately 4 grams of suspected cocaine. And this was just over a course of one evening. And again, this was data driven, and to kind of explain that a little bit further, talking about our flock cameras that we've implemented over time, and how we've been able to use those as an effort and a way for us to identify suspects and individuals involved in these cases and increase our solvability rates exponentially. We've been able to use those flock cameras and ensure that we're, also using our drone operations to ensure safety on enforcement initiatives. So many different pieces of technology that some of these agencies have also had access to that they can help provide during those initiatives.
And while we're on the subject of technology, one thing that I want to kind of touch base on is the ongoing effort with the 911 center. One thing that I think you all know I'm very passionate about is getting this 911 center up and running. It's been an ongoing project for the Clark County and Clark County Sheriff's Office for several years. Chief Elliott and I meet on a regular basis with another group of community leaders and to try to get this on board. We've run into some technology issues, as you're aware of. I'm in the process right now of trying to secure a company to come in and get us up to speed and where we need to be. We are not as far along on this project as I had hoped at this point, but we are making progress with it. As you know, my goal is to remove us off of the Citrix system and onto a VPN system. We have been testing the VPN system over the past several months, and I can tell you that there is night and day difference between the two. The VPN system works phenomenally well. We have access to mapping, we have access to telemetry, we have access to upload, download. A lot of things that we didn't have access to before are coming. So part of the contract that is out right now, the RFP that's out is due up August 8th, and part of that contract gives a time requirement to have Springfield PD and Springfield Fire and all of the surrounding agencies onboarded onto the system and up and operating within a certain amount of time. And it's a very short amount of time. I'm going to be very strict on that. And that's because of this collaboration, because we need a data share. We need to go back and forth, and we need to make sure that whatever Springfield City is working on, we're aware of, and whatever we're working on, Springfield City is aware of. We're dealing with the same people here. We're dealing with the same groups of people, whether or not they're coming in and out of the jail, whether or not we're going through the Springfield City serving papers, whether or not we're backing each other up. Springfield PD is my first backup, and I'm first backup for Springfield PD. We need to be here to support each other. We need to be here to lend a hand when it's needed. And I'm here to commit the Clark County Sheriff's Office to support the Springfield Police Division in any way, shape, or form that they need it.
Switching gears a little bit, just talking about some of the additional efforts as far as both of our agencies. We understand that addressing and enforcing these situations is vital and it's necessary, and it can increase risk, and we recognize that. And again, just understanding that the more law enforcement and resources that we have working together, we can ensure safer operations for everyone involved as well as the community. But shifting the gears and understanding some of the efforts that we're looking to continue to be proactive on, some of the things that we're involved in, I think it's important that we mention, because it's coming up this Tuesday, is National Night Out. And that's an opportunity for our community and law enforcement and first responders to have open dialogue, have a good community event together, and break down those barriers and build those bridges between law enforcement and the community. But also it's an opportunity for you and folks with their families to bring their families down and partner with law enforcement and first responders as another unified front to address violence within our community. Some of the new things that we brought back, our bike rodeo was another way for us as a Springfield Police Division to add to that. And I know Sheriff has his programs as well that they are working on.
One thing we just highlighted with Clark County Fair was Safety Village. It just accomplished its 50th year. We honored the three individuals who started Safety Village in 1975. We made a commitment to try to keep it going for the next 50 years. It's been a wildly popular event, and we hope to expand it over the next few years to include more children.
And again, just driving home the point, we've talked a lot about this, and we've had a lot of folks who have come and spoken about the gun violence and the violence within our community. Law enforcement is only one arm in the community that's able to work toward addressing that. We need everybody here. everybody in this entire community to come together. And there's so many people who are already engaging in those efforts with the right heart, the right mind, and the right attitude. And we need to continue to come together and make sure that we're working collectively to address these issues and address the root causes. We also need the investment in technology as we move forward. I know the sheriff and I have talked a lot about this, how the continued need, we understand that, technology and data tools are very expensive. They can be very costly, but they keep everybody safe and much safer at times. And they're necessary, and they're a necessary piece of equipment for us to do our jobs thoroughly and making sure that we're doing everything correctly.
And along those same topics, I know you're aware that the Clark County has started an initiative to look towards building a new jail, new public safety building. That is very early on in the infancy stage. But I wanted to kind of comment on that and just kind of touch base on how critical a facility like a new jail would be to this area. Right now, we have a 180-bed jail. It's rated to house 167. Our average daily population today was 192. So we are only housing the worst of the worst. We need to make law enforcement in Clark County, Springfield mean something again, which means starting early. If people shoplift, there should be penalties for that. The problem we have is if we don't pay attention to the lower level nonviolent felonies or misdemeanors, it builds a resistance almost. It builds someone's confidence in order to do the next step, to do something a little bit worse each time. And then before we know it, we're dealing with violent criminals. So we need to address the lower level misdemeanors in a way that means something. And not to say that it doesn't right now, but I think we could do more. But a lot of what we're hung up on is we've got no place to put them. The hands of the prosecutors are bound. The hands of the judges are bound, just simply because we had to get creative on how to hold people responsible for their actions. And I'm not saying jail is appropriate for everybody, but within a new facility, there's a lot of things that we could do to make things better. Currently, the recidivism rate in Clark County is 34.5%. That's extremely high. The way to get that down is a lot of it's through programming, drug and alcohol rehabilitation. It's through GED programs. It's through anger management. It's through counseling. All things that can be provided within a new facility that we have trouble providing right now in the jail because of limited space. So, it's really law enforcement is really a very big machine, and we're only as strong as the weakest cog. And we've got to make sure that every cog in this machine is strong. And right now, I've got a commitment from the chief here and a commitment from me that we're willing to step up and make things better in this community and do whatever it takes. And we hope the community gets behind us, and they're willing to support the initiatives to make sure that we can make this a safer community.
And I will echo that because we know seeing our officers on the front lines every single day and deputies and law enforcement and public safety, we know their jobs are extremely difficult and they're tasked every single day with making very difficult decisions, sometimes split-second decisions, and it's challenging. And again, just being able to work together, train together, continue to collaborate together, the gratitude that I have for Sheriff Clark and his commitment to us, I echo that from the Springfield Police Division as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say, and I'm sure commissioners will have some comments, but I do appreciate the effort at the top level in our community with law enforcement working together. I know that trickles down. I'm sure everything's not rosy on each side at the same point. It's probably never been rosier. I'll just say it that way. But I do appreciate that. And I know you guys are making an effort to do that. Sheriff Clark, I appreciate you going after the deficiencies of the 911 system and fixing those and making that one of your top priorities since you've been in office. I know the city of Springfield deeply appreciates that, and thank you for that. Other commissioners, comments?
I'm delighted to hear your message. The criminals have known for some time that the boundaries can work to their advantage, and the only way we can keep that from happening is by collaboration and cooperation among law enforcement. Then the boundaries go away to some extent because we're all pulling together. So I'm delighted to hear this message and want to encourage you to continue to work together and build strong bonds for the benefit of Springfield and Clark County in general. Also, just curious, what kind of technology needs do you see in the immediate future? What kinds of things would help you do your jobs more effectively and efficiently?
I think something that, we've looked at and we've kind of talked about, understanding that, drones as first responder programs, drones have increased as far as the capabilities and the things that we can do. We work really closely with Chief King and the Springfield Fire Rescue Division. Obviously, they are instrumental in the scenes that we have and that we need their assistance. They provide their drone operations. And it's been, such an enhanced, increased opportunity for us, not only to preserve crime scenes, but also to locate individuals who have been involved in criminal activity. So drones obviously can be expensive, but understanding that we would love to bolster that program. The flock cameras, we understand they have done an incredible job in not only deterring crime and especially in hotspot data-driven areas, we've seen the results there, but also in being able to increase our solvability rates. We currently have 36 within the city of Springfield, but that's a renewal every single year that we know we have to make sure that we are paying attention to. But increasing, cameras around the community like that are huge for us. Having an opportunity to review in the future a crime gun or not a crime gun, excuse me.
Ivan?
No, I'm sorry, not the crime gun, the live, what Dayton PD just did. I apologize. I'm mixing it up, not the Crime Gun Intelligence Center, but kind of the real-time crime center, sorry.
Okay.
So having that opportunity to look for the future, even if we could collaborate as agencies to put that together to help increase, a visual presence and get ahead of things before they even start is a big way for us to improve that.
As you both know, I serve on behalf of the Commission on the Criminal Justice Council. And to your point, Sheriff, I have heard at those meetings, before and after those meetings, the frustration of not only the uniformed officers, but the prosecutors, the judges, the people at the jail, in terms of their inability to do their job as they would like to do it because of the limitations imposed by the size of the jail.
Yes.
I certainly have heard that, and I hope the community will listen and act accordingly when we have that opportunity. Thank you both
Great.
very, very much. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
First off, thank you for being here tonight. The only two comments I have, and I know it's already been said, but wanted to echo it. Thank you for your commitment to the 911 Dispatch Center and just your continued collaboration. I look forward to our meeting on Thursday, the joint meeting, hearing more about the future proposed jail.
Thank you both again for being here and spending time with us today to explain your partnership, which is such a inspiring role model in law enforcement and the work that you do in the community. You were sharing some of the programming that you do, but Sheriff Clark, do you do the DARE program in schools as well? Your deputies do that, right?
We do. I have two deputies that are assigned to do nothing but DARE.
Okay, and then I'm always bragging about your Explorer program. Can you say anything about that?
So the Explorer program is a branch off from the Boy Scouts of America.
Mm-hmm.
We had an Explorer program back here in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, and we rejuvenated it probably about 7 or 8 years ago. It took a little lull during COVID, but what it is that it gives an opportunity for young men and women who have an interest in law enforcement, 14 and up, that can come in. We put them through a little mini police academy, teach them about policy and procedure, teach them about wearing their uniform correctly, teach them about, honor and integrity and doing the right thing. And they can come out and ride with us. They can come out. They help park cars at certain events with work with the deputies. And it's kind of like a mentorship program. And it's been been very popular. There's probably, I'm going to say probably 12 to 13 kids in there right now. We just graduated a police academy, Explorer Academy a couple months ago over at Greenland High School. And it's been something that's been really good, and it's generated some law enforcement officers that are in this community. I just swore in one of my explorers as a corrections officer last week.
Wow, that's pretty
Might
cool.
have as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and then, back to Chief Elliott, you have the Citizens Police Academy and the work that you do in the community with adults. Can you talk a little bit about the Citizens Academy and what that is?
Yeah, so that's similar an opportunity for someone who wants to learn more about our agency, the policies and procedures, maybe why we do some of the things that we do internally and also externally as law enforcement, the decisions that are made. You also get an opportunity to speak with some folks from the court system. They come in and provide some opportunity to learn about that. But we've gotten great feedback. I think it's a wonderful opportunity if you're looking to learn more about law enforcement. And I say, you can, even if you do support law enforcement or you don't support law enforcement, you just want to learn more and maybe have a better understanding. We've had a ton of people from different ends and different views who have come in just to take the time to educate themselves. And I think it's been eye-opening and enlightening for a lot of folks and the feedback that we do get. I will say that we are looking to hold our next academy here coming up in the fall. So very soon you'll probably be seeing some of those applications opening up for you to put in for that.
And I think, when we talk about the capacity and how overwhelming we are with, the crime happening in the community, putting more on the front end of prevention is so important. And I don't think we put enough into that. So just to impact, the community through doing engaging events like that, I think is just so important. I have one more thing I'd like to share because the jail is kind of a hot topic right now. Sheriff Clark, can you remind me or share with everyone when we're at capacity and you have to send some of our folks to other jails, can you share what that cost looks like?
So we currently have a contract with another agency. It costs me $90 per day per inmate to ship inmates out to another facility.
So many times you're overwhelmed and we're having to do that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So luckily we have not had to do that yet this year, but the contract is in place in case we get to that critical point, because we're in violation of Ohio Administrative Code to be over capacity. The state of Ohio says we should not be over capacity. Now we manage it. The state of Ohio gives some grace with that because there's a lot of facilities in the state of Ohio that are overcrowded, but overcrowding by itself causes a lot of problems. It causes tension. It can cause health concerns. It can cause infrastructure problems within the jail itself. It can cause a safety issue for the corrections officers and the deputies who are working in there. So we try to keep it down, keep the population down as best we can, and we do that through collaboration with Springfield PD, with collaboration with the judges and the prosecutors. So we may get in a situation where we have to have a conversation with some people, some judges, to try to get some people released early, to try to keep that down, because it's critical we keep the count manageable so we don't create a situation that's hazardous, that's dangerous for the inmates and the people who are working inside that facility.
The last statement I just want to make is something that was just the most enlightening, eye-opening thing since being a commissioner. I have been, lucky enough to ride with 2 deputies and do a ride-along, and then I've also done it with SPD. And the one situation specifically that I'd like to share with the community is we had arrested someone, taken them to the jail, and the jail was at full capacity. And we could not take them, they couldn't take them into the jail. So they literally had to let them back out, and they were reoffended that night. And then hearing that the call times, right, and how much we can handle, and so much of that is reoffenses, right? We get a lot of reoffenses. So if we're actually going to be able to have a full jail where we can hold folks, as you were talking about, kind of following through with the process and retaining people, I think that as we talk about the jail, that's just one thing that was just that need, and then what will the service times look like? We'll be able to improve it, the stress to our officers and deputies to be there for everyone at all times, and it's just a lot. So the trickle down effect from considering the new jail and adding more efficiency in your agencies, I think is very beneficial.
And
Thank you.
ultimately, we want to see that recidivism rate of 34.5% come down. We want that down around 20, you know, so, and lower if we can, you know,
Yes.
but that all comes with, you know, the machine working as efficiently as it can.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Just really quickly, speaking to the prevention piece, I'm always going to be the person in the room that's going to ask what type of coaching and during your collaboration are you guys doing with one another to look at your current practices? I know we kind of spoke about that efficiency earlier, to see what you're doing right now to look at that effectiveness of those practices and to be able to understand why we have such high criminal rates, right? And we're looking at truly why that crime is there and understanding the impacts, again, that I'm going to say 1,000 times, of poverty, of racism, of things of sexism, all the isms and the impacts of that on that crime rate and on the recidivism as well. Are you guys looking into doing additional collaboration and training and coaching and reflection on those pieces as you continue with your collaboration?
Well, I can tell you that Chief Elliott and I talk, you know, quite regularly, and we bounce policies and situations back and forth off of each other on how, you know I've asked her several times, how would you handle this? She's asked me. We're constantly training. We're constantly looking for ways to improve and to approach things in a different way, try to make things better. We're constantly searching for answers. Can't sit here and tell you that I've got them all. I wish I did, but we are constantly looking for the next best thing to try here to try to make it better for us.
And leveling up in law enforcement, you know, it's a big thing. We need to make sure we're continuing to evolve with law enforcement and just looking at our policies, procedures, practices. Sheriff and I spoke about that today. You know, they had worked through accreditation processes, and they're obviously working through that now as far as his policies and procedures, and just as taking on his new sheriff, not to speak for you, Sheriff, but
Very fine.
the conversation we did have today, you know, our opportunity that we were afforded to be a part of the OCLEAP, the Ohio Collaborative Law Enforcement Accreditation Program, and getting state certification through that program helped push us to take a look within and at our practices and our policies and procedures. And it's still a work in progress. We still have a lot of procedures to address, update, and work through, and that's going to continue. That should always be something we're doing constantly throughout each year. And I recognize that, and that starts with me, making sure that I look at that and I address that, but also training our folks and making sure that those practices are consistent and that we're doing the right thing by our people so they have those standards and guidelines that they can operate from, keeping them safe and protected as well as the community.
Our policies and procedures are and should always be a living and breathing thing. So they should always evolve with the times. They should always evolve to what's going on around us. And you know, it starts at the top. It starts with me, and it starts with Chief Elliott. That we have to be the ones to make sure that our policies evolve.
And with that, is there a motion to conclude the work session?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Dr. Estrop,
Yes.
Mrs. Houston,
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett,
Yes.
Mr. Rue.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
We'll
you.
let you guys clear out for a minute, and then we'll continue with the formal meeting. Okay, the formal meeting for City Commission's called to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown,
Here.
Dr. Estrop,
Here.
Mrs. Houston, Mrs. Tackett,
Here.
Mr. Rue.
Here. Please stand for the invocation and the pledge. God, I just thank you for Springfield and ask peace. Name. there a motion to approve minutes?
So
I'll
moved.
move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Dr. Estrop.
Yes?
Mrs. Houston,
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett,
Yes.
Mr. Rue.
Yes. City Commission remains committed to creating a conducive environment for constructive and productive dialogue and engagement in our community. Those wishing to speak tonight must fill out a comment card, provide their name and address for the record, and a state-issued ID must be provided when filling out the card. Only Springfield and Clark County residents will be permitted to speak. Comment cards will be accepted 15 minutes after the formal legislative meeting begins. Those who are determined to have provided false information will not be permitted to speak at this meeting or the next regularly scheduled meeting. We are committed to making this environment an open opportunity to share thoughts and ideas and concerns. The commission and staff are listening, taking notes, and researching information relative to each of your comments. While honoring First Amendment principles, the City Commission reserves the right to regulate the time, place, and manner of public comments to ensure the proceedings remain orderly, respectful, and conducive and constructive dialogue. While we fully respect the First Amendment rights of all individuals, disruptions or any conduct that impedes orderly progress of the meeting will not be tolerated. Should any individual be escorted or asked to leave due to disruptive behavior on 3 separate occasions, they'll be notified that they are considered trespassing or barred from attending future City Commission meetings. After the public comment period, commissioners may respond to matters brought forth during the public comment period and will also direct the city manager and staff to answer questions during the public comment period. If a question requires additional research from the city manager, the staff will follow up with the individual within the next several business days and also post those answers on the city website. New comment. I want to take a moment to address the pending action to end TPS in early August with an effective date for those currently in the U.S. of September 2nd. This continues to be very fluid as different court actions have been initiated, which may delay an enforcement action to the TPS termination date to February of 26. As a reminder, ICE has the authority and jurisdiction as granted by the federal government to engage with immigrants, and local authorities will continue to communicate with the Department of Homeland Security to understand any proposed activities or operations that directly impacts our community. If individuals are seeking general information concerning the matter of immigration, please utilize United Way's 211 call center, as they will be able to refer individuals to the appropriate agency or organization. Please do not call 911. Do not call 911 unless it is truly an emergency. Thank you. We're going to begin comment tonight. Jimmy Stewart.
Good evening. So I just looked at the presentation and I saw the first 2 bullet points. First, youth gun violence is rising and increase in access to guns. Well, youth gun violence is not rising. Well, it depends on how you define it, right? If you wish to converse with me, let's define our term. To me, a youth is 17 and under. Your gun grant said 14 to 24. My data says 20 to 24, and that's expanding. And I'm using your data. Increase access of guns. Well, that's great. Is it an access of illegally bought guns from a straw market or legally bought guns? We need to know that, because we just did research on that, and we have generational violence where people are getting guns from their own family. It just keeps passing down. That would be good to know. You said you had a lot of arrests on the last crackdown of operations. That's accurate. That's true. What about convictions? Because that's what matters. Seems like we're arresting a lot of people. The chief is doing a damn good job. More arrests than I've ever seen in a city this small. I mean, she's busting it. But they were talking about municipal court. Your sheriff talked about it. Can't do his job because you can't convict anybody on a misdemeanor in your court, which the mayor is in charge of hiring the prosecutor. Sheriff is frustrated. Here's the thing, if you can get a conviction on a misdemeanor, that means it goes to enhancement penalties. It means the next one might be an enhancement to a felony, which means more time behind bars. 90 days to ship somebody out? Or let me rephrase this, $90 a day, right? Well, I think about 23 of those women that have been killed between 2020 and now would have loved to have that $90 a day, Ms. Tackett. Because the person that killed them, they were arrested just a couple days prior to that. Even on a misdemeanor that this court couldn't hold them. 34% on recidivism rate, it's 90% for domestic violence.
Diane Daniels.
Good evening. I'm going to start with a question. A business or homeowner constructs in the city of Springfield a sizable unattached structure without a contractor of record, nor any applicable permits, nor a site inspection by the city building inspector or a representative thereof. Should the city building inspector not be available for an expended time, what happens? Does the structure remain standing to be used later? Or does it need to be demolished because it was not properly inspected nor had any permits and therefore quite possibly be not up to code? Here we go. DeWine was here again. Wasn't that great? Another visit by DeWiner. And who did he meet with? He met with local leaders. He met with businessmen and community organizers. Did he meet with any of us? No. And what was he fed? He was fed the lipstick that goes on a pig. And of course, all the local news outlets, including our local rag, the Springfield News Sun, covered it as, oh, Springfield is doing really great. Well, yeah, if you look at the lipstick, but you forget about the pig. We're not doing all that great. Economics, ask the people south of Pleasant Street. Just ask them how well they're doing. And they'll tell you honestly it's not so great. The economic boom that we're supposed to have gotten from this, let me see, how was it phrased? You knew there was going to be chaos, but you didn't know it was going to be this bad. Thank you for the chaos. We really appreciate it, particularly the folks south of Pleasant Street, but of course not in Knollwood, or up in Ridgewood, or up in Broadmoor. Oh, those folks don't feel the effect. The rest of us do. And let's just talk about the money, okay? Our governor gifted us with $2.5 million for primary health care. He gave us $1.3 million for our schools. That amounts to about $4.8 million. Well, I think that equals the amount of federal dollars that we're missing. I think it evens out, don't you?
Darlene Yealy.
Three things tonight. One is I want to say how much I appreciate all the heart and hard work that was put into the community project of South in Bloom. It's amazing what a community can do when they work toward a common goal. It was just fascinating. It was wonderful, and I'm sorry if anybody missed it. This community has so much to offer. And there's so many people that are volunteering their time and their effort and their interest in this. So I just can't express how appreciative I am of just the different organizations and our police departments, et cetera, that are just putting so much effort into this community. Arl Ruby is organizing a meeting to declare an alliance with the Haitian community for August the 2nd. I won't be attending. Contrary to what our mayor and commissioners have said about security at this type of public gathering, it would be unsafe and unwise of me to take a stand for my God, my country, and my president as I did at the No Kings rally. Just know that I am against putting non-American citizens over American citizens' well-being. And this has been asked before. Again, the people of this county deserve an accurate census of non-American citizens that are living in this community and an accurate number that are on any kind of public assistance. Please get us these numbers.
Yvonne Hendricks.
I wasn't going to speak today, but talking about gun violence. So first I want to say, before I get into the gun violence, the people that pray to God, and you shouldn't put no citizen above any citizen. All right, moving on. I want to give a thanks to the mayor, Ms. Tackett, and definitely a shout out to Chief, like for coming to the walk and for always being out there, boots on the ground. I love it. You know, I don't see nobody else, but I love it. Love the job that y'all's doing for sure. And we know we need a new jail for sure. We need a new jail. We've been needing one. First time I went, you know, but we also need a youth center to house these youth. And we also need maybe some treatment center to house the people that's addicted to these drugs, you know. Definitely need that. Yeah. That's about it. And the training, definitely we need to invest in training, because if we put more cops out there, we need to train them to deal with these people that probably got mental issues. You know what I mean? They got mental issues or they're dealing with other things. So yeah, we definitely need to work on training, you know. And if we have, say we build a hub, a youth center, you know, the best thing ever in time with cops is intel, you know, is intel. You know, I'm going to say this, it's a terminology in the criminal world, you know what I mean? But cops are dumb. It's the people that give them the information, though. I'm not saying you're dumb, because I love you. But yeah, that, you know, but they need intel. So we build these hubs like the place for the youth, you know, and I remember I told you before, we should have a ride along just to show, you know, just to show that, you know, it's okay. I'm with you. We with each other. We lock in arms. And, you know, I'm a respected guy in the community. And I used to be a criminal. You know what I mean? I used to be on the other side. So the respect is there, too, on that side. So us locking arms and showing the community that we could work together. We could change. We could work together. So that's it. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Lord George.
Hi. This is my first time being here, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I just want to say thank you to all of you for listening. And I just want to say to everybody else, I pray for you. I pray for our city. And I just pray we find peace and we realize how valuable everybody is, and we can find that love for each other again. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Jen Casto.
Good evening, Mayor Rue, City Commissioners. I just first and foremost wanted to say thank you to Chief Elliott and to the sheriff as well for their discussion about gun violence here in Springfield. It's definitely a serious issue, and also for bringing light that we as a community have to come together because they can only do so much. That being said, we had our last March we're ending gun violence on July 19th. We had a great turnout for that. We had a community event. Mayor Rue and Tracy Tackett and Chief Elliott were there, and they spoke and they marched with us in the streets, and we greatly appreciate that. We appreciate the police presence that we had as well. We're going to be at the National Night Out on the 6th, representing the Fudge Foundation. So if you're interested in getting involved in that initiative that we're creating, we're working on creating a coalition here as well. If you are interested in that, please stop by our table and we can provide some more information if you want to get involved. And our next march is actually going to be on the 16th of August. It's going to start around 2 p.m. We're going to be providing free back-to-school haircuts through some barbers here in Springfield that have generously donated their time. That's going to be free. There will be further details about that. You can find out more about that at the National Night Out. Along with that, onto another topic is it was mentioned about the event that's being had on the 2nd of August. So I want to talk about how our immigrant neighbors provide a vital role in playing in the fabric of Springfield. The event that we're going to have on the 2nd is going to be from 3 to 5 p.m. It's going to be at City Hall Plaza, and it's called Love Thy Neighbor. So it's a time to come together for solidarity, celebration, and support of our Haitian and broader immigrant communities. In Springfield, immigrants contribute to every corner of our city, from our schools and hospitals to our neighborhoods and local businesses. They bring culture, resilience, and a deep commitment to community, even when facing language barriers, policy uncertainty, and too often prejudice. Love Thy Neighbor is more than a gathering, it's a statement. It's a statement that Springfield sees, values, and stands with our immigrant neighbors. It's a moment to listen to stories, learn from one another, and remind ourselves that humanity has no border. This is how we build a stronger Springfield, through compassion, understanding, and action. I hope you will all join us on August 2nd as we continue to grow a city where everyone belongs. Thank you.
Thank you. Carl Ruby.
Thank you, Rob, and city commissioners, city leaders. I'm bringing a report from a group called Springfield G92. It's a network of about 20 churches who are committed to standing with our Haitian neighbors. And we have about 100 faith leaders in town this week for a 3-day training session on how we can use our collective power to stand with you in your support for our wonderful Haitian neighbors. Here's the letter that I have been sent to read to you. Dear city leaders, we are representing Springfield G92, a large and growing network of churches who wish to see our city flourish. We're here tonight to voice our collective support for the Haitian people who work, worship, and live in Springfield and Clark County. We're also here to voice our support for you. We're here to remind you of the words of Jesus. Blessed are you when people insult you and persecute you and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. In the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Each time one of our fellow residents attacks you, they are adding to your heavenly reward. When you are falsely attacked for your support of Haitian immigrants, you are in the company of the prophets and of Jesus. You have our support and the support of the vast majority of people in Springfield. We know that the jobs you hold are difficult. We know that they are important. We know that you are good people who love our city and serve selflessly, even serving and protecting those who sometimes attack and insult you during city commission meetings such as this one. We grieve when people deride you. We are angry when people slander and falsely accuse you. We believe that Springfield's best days are ahead of us, and we are excited to see our city grow, and we understand that nearly all of our city's growth can be attributed to immigrants and refugees. Without them, we are an aging and shrinking city. With them, we can build a better and brighter future for our city and county, Springfield G92. Thank you so much for the good work you do. Rob, I appreciate your statement providing clarification about the end of TPS. I think that's helpful for our community to know. And our hope and prayer and goal is that when TPS ends, all the Haitians will be able to either have asylum or some other form of legal residency. But thank you for making that clear.
Claire Copeland.
I just want to echo some of the thank yous. Thank you for being here, for committing to the city. And I just have a quick thing. I think I said it last year because I remember Crystal commenting that I love the flowers and the hanging baskets downtown and the gentleman in his little bug that he goes around and waters all the flowers. What a gift it is. And so I just want to thank the staff for the beautiful flowers. And then on South Mountain and South Center and North Mountain, that there are more flowers. So thank you.
The comment cards I have. I want to address one thing. Mr. Stewart, the mayor does not hire the city prosecutor. The mayor does not hire anybody alone. The mayor, with the commission, as one of the 5 commissioners, affirms the decisions of the city manager. Not putting this off. It's just fact in our charter. So make sure we are saying fact up here, or you're saying fiction. Okay? Dan, it's hard to not to appreciate your passion for the community, but again, let's make sure that we're trying to present facts and not just personal belief when addressing the city and the city commission. Devin, sorry I don't say your name right, but I just want to say thank you for changing your life. Thank you for, are you here? Brother, where are you at? You gone? All right. I appreciate this man for changing his life, for making decisions consistently to make good steps and forward steps, and to be an example to the youth that you can make change. And so I appreciate him for doing that. And yay, Springfield Fire, be safe. Okay, lots of other good comments, but those are ones that I had specific notes. Oh yeah, I do want to say there's a few people that talked about, thank you for pointing out when one of the commissioners is at your event. We all can't be at all your events, and that's why there's 5 of us, and we do separate and go to the events we can go. We all have various life work schedules and life responsibilities. Remind you, this is a $11,000 to $15,000 a year job, and so we go to what we can, when we can, and we're passionate about various things. So that's why you have 5 commissioners going to 5 different things when we can. So I just want to say that thanks for pointing us out at the same point. We do represent the commission when we're there. We're not just representing ourselves. Every event I go to, I'll speak for myself, it's for the commission, representing the commission. Okay? That's all I have. Other commissioners?
I just want to say super briefly, I just want to thank you for the prayers for us as we sit here and get all the fun things tossed at us. I did want to say very comically that I was referred to as a communist, and I enjoyed that. So thank you. Right. Thank you for saying that. I mean, if you know me, you'd probably say socialist before that, but communist was fun. So thank you for the prayers.
The only thing that I wanted to share, since Ms. Copeland brought up our beautiful flowers, I think it's just an opportunity to thank our service folks. They don't get enough handshakes and high fives in the city of Springfield. That whole department, Chris Moore, and the folks taking care of the landscape and the streets are appreciated. Oh, and the water and the sewer. What else do we cover? A lot. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your kind words, Mr. Ruby. The only thing that I wanted to comment, and I'm sure you will address this, there was a comment made regarding funding that was for Rocking Horse and the schools, and specifically about federal money missing. I was just wondering when you follow up, if you could address those comments and the validity.
Dr. Espeff, you want to say?
I have no additional information at this time on any federal or state cuts. They're still working through all of that, particularly the block grant information. My understanding and last talking to Logan was that it has gone through the House and is now over in the U.S. Senate for consideration. So hopefully they will move in a timely fashion. Some of the state cuts, particularly those affecting schools, potentially are being sorted out. If you follow the news media, one of the things you will see is the decision on overriding Governor DeWine's veto of some of the property tax, real estate tax matters has not been decided at this point. Now, that's very important for school districts because Springfield, as an example, not as an example, bad example, most school districts rely heavily on the property, the real estate tax. The way the state has set up the tax system is the county gets its revenue from the sales tax. Schools get their revenue from the state and also from real estate taxes. And the city gets its revenue from income taxes. That's the way the state of Ohio has set up the revenue that we all receive. So no additional information at this point. The other thing I wanted to mention is I took my first ride on field trip. Very successful. I was a quarter of a block from my house. They were on time. They picked me up. It was very comfortable. They took me to my destination and let me out at the front door. So as a sample of one, I had a very good experience. But Brian, I was wondering if you or perhaps Jason could give us a little more data about our experiment, our efforts here with field trips in VIA.
Yes, I'll ask Jason Bai to present some information over the first little over 2 weeks of ridership.
Good evening. Yep, I'm pleased to share tonight we've had our first 10 days of service, and during that time, we were also running in parallel with the existing service. We've created, or riders have created, over 1,100 new accounts. We've served at least 558 individual riders and a total of 1,871 rides over 10 days. Now, as we move forward, just understand that was also free. We will start charging as of today. But today, after the first full day of service, we had 192 rides with a total of 230 passengers, and wait times were 6 minutes. I do just want to share just a quick story. As we continue to navigate the change, I talked to a lady who was frustrated immediately after her first ride and said, gosh, I called to get a ride and I couldn't get out the door fast enough because they were going to be here so soon. So now she says, when I'm ready to call, I have my bag in hand and I'm ready to go out the door. And just another example, we had a gentleman who was accidentally left off the service map because we were operating the services in parallel. We were able to work with SCAT to ensure he was served, but at the same time, members of the team were working with him to make sure we could meet his needs, his future needs when he rode, and then worked in the background to adjust the map. So obviously, this will continue to evolve, and one of the best things about it is it is adaptable, and the partnership is there to ensure that we can meet all the needs of our existing riders and our future riders too. Yes, sir.
Jason, I was wondering, how does that count of ridership compare with the old fixed route system on the average? Are we up? Are we down? About the same?
Sure, it is comparable. We figure that there are on average 300 rides a day on the existing service. Understand that many of those rides are connecting, so potentially 150-ish rides a day. So we are seeing comparable numbers just to get started. So that is very encouraging.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, there were a couple items or questions asked. One, in just general broad terms, if a structure is built without a permit or inspections, adjudication orders would be issued to the property owner to provide proof that the building was constructed properly and so forth, and getting the permits, and there are penalties associated with that. If there's a specific address, we would be glad to look further into it. if there's a property to look into where a structure has been built without permits and so forth. So if you can communicate that with Logan Cobbs, she will look into that. And then another item was about number of people on public assistance. We do not keep those stats. That would be Clark County DJFS, but we can have staff reach out and see if they have that information for us. And then Commissioner Houston, you asked about the federal state cuts and compared to the statement of the funds the state provided. As you know, most federal and state programs come with very specific requirements, specific ways that they can be utilized. And so it's not a one-for-one exchange just because, the governor in this case provided some money to the health department to establish some additional public health resources and clinic opportunities, and then provided money to the schools to assist with English as a second language and translation services because those rising costs facing that doesn't mean that the other cuts that we're seeing at the federal and state level are managed with those additional funds because they are for specific programs we serve in the community. CDBG, as an example of that, serves a lot of our, whether it be not-for-profit programs like Springfield Promise Neighborhood and so forth, neighborhood housing partnership and the construction of affordable housing throughout the community. And so none of those dollars, if those dollars go away, the dollars that the governor gave during that time do not offset those dollars that were lost to the community, to great programming and projects that are happening. I am happy to report it is actually made it out now of the Senate HUD Appropriations Subcommittee with CDBG being intact. And they actually restored home dollars in their version of the bill. So now the next step would be for our Congress to come back, hopefully it sounds like probably in September, to vote on the full appropriations packages.
I think that illustrates, Brian, exactly part of our frustration is things are changing so quickly. I checked this information as of yesterday, and what I reported was true, but it's a different day, a different number. So I think that's why we have to be very careful and listen very closely, follow what's going on in Washington, D.C., as well as Columbus, because decisions are getting made there almost on a daily basis now that will impact our community.
Okay, we'll move on with first readings by title only. We can pause. You're welcome to leave if you don't want to stay for the business portion of the meeting. How's that? Okay, thank you.
Authorizing the exercise of the city's option to renew the contract with Lorenzo Anderson, doing business as All Things Trucking, Hauling, and Dumpsters, LLC, for nuisance abatement services as needed by the city for an amount not to exceed $50,000. Authorizing the exercise of the city's option to renew the contract with Gary Gilbert Jr., doing business as Gilbert's Lawn Service, for nuisance abatement services as needed by the city for an amount not to exceed $50,000. Authorizing the exercise of the city's option to renew the contract with OMAC Hauling Incorporated for nuisance abatement services as needed by the city for an amount not to exceed $50,000. Authorizing the exercise of the city's option to renew the contract with Samuel E. Whitaker Sr., doing business as Whitaker Hauling, for nuisance abatement services as needed by the city for an amount not to exceed $50,000.
Comments from commissioners on first readings? Dr. Esprop?
I was wondering, Brian, is the total for this 200,000 or is it 50,000 divided among the four?
So it can exceed. So currently, these are renewal contracts for our junk and trash contracts for code enforcement orders. We do award each of these contractors a not to exceed amount of $50,000. That way it gives us the flexibility as staff. You know, if one has a lot of work and can't get to a project timely, we can go to another one, to spread the work out. I will say year to date under the current contract, we have spent a combined $141,213 on nuisance abatement activities in the community. So there has been a good spread among all four contractors, but we obviously are pushing more towards that 200,000 than we are 50,000.
I know our vacant property registry has helped because we've been able to identify some of the private owners of property and they get the bill. But essentially what we're doing here is serving trash collectors for people's private property and the taxpayers picking up the bill.
That is accurate through this. We have to send out these contractors to do it, and certainly taxpayer dollars are utilized for these services. We do try to recoup as much as we can and collect as much as we can back for those that have had the issues in terms of nuisance abatement being required on their property.
Are these general fund dollars?
Yes.
So this is taxpayer money. This is no grant or nothing else.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Comments from the audience on first readings? We'll continue with second readings.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a pre-annexation agreement with Eric Bokenauer for the real property located at 2604 Columbus Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a subrecipient agreement with the Clark County Land Reutilization Corporation to provide CDBG funding to assist with the construction of recreational facilities located at 504 West Euclid Avenue in an amount not to exceed $150,000.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners? Dr. Estrop?
I was wondering if the staff might give us a little more information about this.
Yeah, so this is a project that we've been working in partnership with the Clark County Land Reutilization Corporation, better known as the Land Bank, and we look to make improvements in this specifically in the southwest quadrant of our community. This impacts, if you recall, the former Euclid Elements site, which was an old industrial site. The Land Bank has done a great job of cleaning that up. And as a part of the total area investment, they're building new housing. There's investment by Core 4 in that area. And so for this specific property, they are constructing a new park facility, a recreational facility for the neighborhood and the community. And so this is a contribution of CDBG funds. This is in a low to mod income area. And so is an appropriate use of CDBG funding to invest back in our neighborhoods, to invest back in our community through park infrastructure.
Great project. Thank you.
I was able to go site visit there, and that park is pretty awesome. So another opportunity for families to experience.
Comments from the audience?
Wes Babian. I'm curious. I know there were other partners that were supposed to be a part of this project. Is that going forward? Is the partnership occurring with the various entities? That's my question.
Yes, the Land Bank has been they've been working on private and public donations to raise a total of over, I think, just around $1 million. And so they have had a lot of success in their campaign. I believe they're over halfway there. And we look forward to this continued project and the multiple partners that are looking to invest in this area.
Thank you.
Call the roll.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the finance director to purchase up to 2,875 tons of rock salt for the 2025-2026 winter season from Morton Salt Incorporated for an amount not to exceed $200,042.50 through the Ohio Department of Transportation Cooperative Purchasing Program in accordance with the provisions of Section 5513.01B of the Ohio Revised Code.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Accepting the recommendation of the Tax Incentive Review Council for Enterprise Zone Agreements and Community Reinvestment Area Agreement.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners? Dr. Estrop?
I was wondering if you might give us some more information about this item, please.
Yeah, so communities that offer up incentives that are provided or allowed for by the state of Ohio establish tax incentive review councils that are made up of a variety of representation from the community, school districts, and so forth. On an annual basis, they come together to review each of those agreements. Those companies and projects make commitments to investment, both in new employment or total dollar investment in a project or building. And so the Turk Board is responsible for reviewing all of those agreements to make sure that they're meeting the metrics that are laid out in each of those individual agreements. So the recommendations this year by the Turk Council is to continue all of those agreements.
So everyone's meeting their
Yes.
obligations. Excellent. Thank you.
Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Providing for supplemental appropriations within various funds and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Confirming purchases and obtaining of services for the city and providing for payments therefore and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Could you just explain the last couple items? This is doing business, but why there's not more detail right here? Thanks.
Certainly, Mayor. So for supplemental appropriations, which was the previous item, and moral obligations, which is the item that you're voting on now, both of these items have a list available on the city's website when you're looking at the commission agenda the Friday afternoon prior to a Tuesday commission meeting. So in being fully transparent, those full lists are available and are included in your packet the Friday before the commission meeting for the public if they would like to see those. Going back and commenting on supplemental appropriations, I think it's important to note that the net impact here across the airport fund and the sewer fund is $0. But commission is required to approve appropriations by fund and department. So we are simply moving monies between departments within a fund, or if we have a prior year canceled PO, we have to reappropriate those monies for use by the department in 2025. Looking at moral obligations, so just a reminder, that's any financial commitment that the city makes without a purchase order in place. Those come in just the case of doing business. That's over $100. That's part of our charter. So again, in being fully transparent, that's one of those things that we have to provide a full list of that commission approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to apply for, accept, and enter into water supply revolving loan account loan agreement with the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency and Ohio Water Development Authority to finance a portion of the city's 2025 East High Street Water Service Replacement Project. Authorizing the city manager, finance director, and law director to do all things necessary to implement said loan application and agreement and to comply with all relevant local, state, and federal legal requirements and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners? Dr. Estrop?
Yes, I was wondering, Katie and Brian or other staff, if you could comment not only on this item, but the next item, which is actually the contract for the work. This is the finance part of it.
Certainly, Commissioner. So this item and the next item pertain to the 2025 East High Street Water Service Replacement Project, which is being completed in advance of ODOT's urban repaving program, and we anticipate that to occur in 2027 or later. This project will eliminate lead service lines along East High Street to the Eastern Corporation limit, improving approximately 96 locations for those lead water service line replacements. So item 1 is the financing authorization. That's where we are requesting authorization from Commission to apply for financing through the Water Supply Revolving Loan Account administered by the Ohio EPA and the Ohio Water Development Authority. The total estimated project cost is $1,027,400. That includes the construction contract, which is the next item on the agenda, 10% for contingency, and then the loan application fee. What's important to note for this loan structure that we can take advantage of through the state is 51% of this is expected to qualify for principal forgiveness.
Really?
So meaning over half of this amount, we will not be responsible for paying
That's
back.
fantastic.
45% would be financed at 0% interest, which is how we spread out these projects to our ratepayers over an extended period of time. And then a small amount, roughly 4%, $40,000, would be subjected to that standard interest rate of roughly 3.7%. And that includes things like the application fee, insurance, and the performance payment bonds that wouldn't qualify.
So the expenses that we do incur are not coming out of the general fund. They're not tax dollars per se. They're what people pay on their water and sewer bills that will pay for this improvement.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you very much.
This would not be funded by income tax dollars. But also just want to highlight why this item and the next item are emergencies. So our loan application is due to Ohio EPA by August 1st in order to make their September 25th meeting. So if this were not an emergency, it wouldn't make their agenda until October 30th, which with weather would delay this project. So looking ahead at item number 2, the award of contract is to award the project to Majors Excavating. They were the lowest and best bid out of 3 competitive responses during the public bidding process.
Well, given the terms of this, very favorable terms, I would think this makes an appropriate emergency ordinance to get it in on time. Thank you very much.
Other comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Majors Enterprises Incorporated for the East High Street Water Service Replacement Project for an amount not to exceed $921,523 and declaring an emergency therein.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners? From the audience?
I do have
Do
one
Ms.
quick
Crystal?
question. What would be the impacts if we did not undertake this project at this time?
So the impacts would be, so as we look at paving in the community, we try to make changes to the underground infrastructure in advance of those changes or that paving project. Again, the state has informed us that they are looking at including that section of High Street as part of the State Route 41 repaving and their urban repaving program in 2027 or just after that. And so if we don't do this work, we would then be subject that we'd have to go back in after a road was paved and tear up a brand new roadway that the state has paid for.
Thank you.
Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing and directing the submission to the electors of the city of Springfield, Ohio, proposed amendment to section 47 of the charter of the city of Springfield, Ohio, providing for the designation of all positions within the police division above the rank of lieutenant as unclassified and to allow for lateral entry for the position of firefighter, paramedic, and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Just want to make a public point of clarity that this vote tonight is to put it on the ballot for November. The passage or the vote tonight does not mean that this passes. This is an electorate decision. This will go on the ballot if passed in November. The comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to submit the 2025-2029 consolidated plan and the 2025 action plan of the city of Springfield, Ohio to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, and authorizing the city manager, finance director, law director, and community development director to do all things they deem necessary to implement, operate, and administer the city's community development block grant program, emergency shelter grant program, and home program, and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into amendment number 1 to the contract with Synagros Central LLC for removal and land application of biosolids to increase the contract in an amount not to exceed $150,000 for a total amount not to exceed $420,000 for the initial 3-year period, confirming and approving related expenditures incurred from July 16th, 2025, and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Confirming and approving change order number 5 to the contract with RB Jurgens Contractors Incorporated for the CLA Yellow Spring Street Reconstruction Phase 2 project, PID 109607, to decrease the contract in an amount not to exceed $4,960.44 for a total amount not to exceed $3,987,124.51, and to extend the completion date to September 30, 2025, authorizing the city manager to execute said change order number 5 and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there comments from commissioners? Audrey?
Decrease, always welcome.
Yes, agreed.
Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a grant agreement for fiscal year 2025 and fiscal year 2026 community corrections programs by and between the city and the state of Ohio, Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Division of Parole and Community Services, Bureau of Community Sanctions, to accept a grant providing funding up to an amount of $322,963 for fiscal years 2025 and 2026 for the operation of a community-based corrections program by the Clark County Municipal Court, authorizing the city manager, finance director, and court administrator of the municipal court to do all things necessary to implement that grant agreement and to comply with all relevant local, state, and federal legal requirements, confirming and approving related expenditures incurred from July 1, 2025, and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners? From the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Authorizing the fiscal officer to establish a super blanket purchase order as authorized in resolution number 6152 for Phoenix Safety Outfitters in the amount of $26,000 and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Other comments from commissioners? Dr. E?
What did we get for 26,000?
Certainly, Commissioner. So
Seems like a lot of money for a blanket. I don't know.
well, this specific super blanket purchase order is for our police division to cover uniform and uniform items. And just a reminder, a super blanket purchase order covers things that it eases administrative process. Ohio Revised Code allows us to use a super blanket for recurring or predictable expenses where we wouldn't exactly see like an invoice amount to encumber specific items.
So in this case, it was police uniform.
Correct.
Thank you.
Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Confirming and approving the acceptance of the material terms of the Purdue Pharma LP and Sackler Family Settlement Agreement pursuant to the One Ohio Memorandum of Understanding regarding the pursuit and use of potential opioid litigation settlement funds and consistent with the material terms of the June 17th, 2025 Purdue Pharma LP and Sackler Family Settlement Agreement available at nationalopioidsettlement.com and declaring an emergency therein.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I was wondering if the law director could speak to this.
Sure, happy to. So this is the Purdue direct settlement. This does not guarantee that the city of Springfield or Ohio will get money. It's looking for subdivisions to participate in the settlement. So once enough subdivisions participate, this will authorize the settlement. The proposed distribution to Ohio, if that settlement passes, is $198 million. Distribution will follow the One Ohio memorandum.
Thank you. Dr. Estrop?
Do I recall correctly that this litigation was headed by the Ohio Attorney General's office? This is a statewide settlement.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Reappointing Daniel Martin to the Historic Landmarks Commission.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Just want to thank Mr. Martin for continuing to serve the community in this capacity. Comments from the audience? Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes. Is there a motion to go into executive session for litigation?
No.
Mayor.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's not on the agenda, but Ms. Tackett has some more comments.
Yes, I would like for the city manager and chief of police to speak to the charter change that we passed this evening. I know that the
Did
city.
not pass charter change. We passed to put it on the
To
ballot.
put it on the ballot.
Just
To
want
put
to
it
be
on the-
clear about
thank you.
that.
Thank you for catching that. To put it on the ballot, I'd like to have you guys speak to it. Thank you.
Yeah, Commission, I'll ask Allison to speak to that matter specifically. If you recall, the item, Section 47, addresses the classification of positions above lieutenant on the police side, and then also adds the opportunity for lateral entry on the firefighter paramedic side. So, Allison?
Good evening, Mayor Rue and Commission. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you tonight about an important step in the continued growth of the Springfield Police Division. As you know, I'm here to discuss a proposed amendment to the city charter, one that would unclassify the rank of captain and any position above within the division. But this isn't just a procedural change. This is about building on the work done by current leadership. This is about leveling up our agency, about how we identify, develop, and support the kind of leaders our community expects and our officers deserve. The world of law enforcement is ever changing, and the demands on leadership today are greater than ever. We need leaders who are aligned with our mission, who lead with integrity and humility, and who can navigate complexity while building trust, both inside the agency and throughout our community. Unclassifying these positions will allow us to be more responsive and flexible in how we build our command staff and structure, as leadership roles in law enforcement needs are ever evolving. It will allow us to appoint the right leaders in the right roles at the right times, make decisions based on performance, leadership ability, and alignment with our values and our team goals, in addition to seniority and exam scores. It will also allow us to respond quickly and effectively to evolving challenges, both within our division and throughout the city. As we have navigated our strategic planning process, and as we enter into the implementation phase, We are also taking the time to evaluate our efficiencies and inefficiencies within our agency and our organizational structure. This change allows for future flexibility to adapt our organizational structure to ensure alignment with our internal strategic plan outcomes. Let me be clear. This is not about removing protections. It's not political. It's not about instability or removing people or eliminating positions. This is not about stifling the growth and development of our folks and our team. This is about creating a more responsive, modern, and mission-driven leadership structure that will serve our community, not just today, but well into our future. We are also pairing this change with a strong commitment to career development. Our officers have asked for clearer guidance and support on the path to leadership, and we've listened. We have received feedback through our strategic planning efforts, and as a result, we are building a comprehensive leadership development program that will define expectations early, identify leadership competencies, and provide an opportunity to coach and better prepare our people at every level. It will allow us to equip our personnel with the tools to lead long before they're promoted into a command role. We've also worked with you to ensure that the proposed charter language includes safeguards and protections that keep the process fair, transparent, and rooted in integrity. This proposal is part of a larger cultural shift, one that raises the bar, reinforces shared values, and strengthens the foundation for growth at every level of the Springfield Police Division. We are building something stronger, more accountable, and more aligned with the future we are committed to creating. Thank you for your time, for your consideration, and your continued support as we work together to move this agency forward. Thank you.
I'll put my motion back on the table. Is there a motion to conclude for executive session over litigation?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, call the roll.
Mrs. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Mrs. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes, thank you for coming. And thank you for the encouragement.